guys, welcome back to Brock's Bees and Botanicals. Today I'm going to show you how to feed your bees, and I'll give you some tips if you are just a beginner or just wants to know anything about bees. So first, I'm going to get geared up and I'll go ahead and feed the bees, and then I'll tell you all the tips and stuff that you need to know. So first, I'm going to put on my bee suit, and then I'm going to get all my equipment done. So, let's get my suit on. So, I got my bee suit on, and I got all my stuff right there. I'll set that up in a second. But let's give you guys some tips about bees. So, there are 3 different types of bees. There are the worker bees, there are the drone bees, and there are the queen bees. So, in every hive, you have 1 bee, and you have a whole bunch of worker bees. It doesn't really matter. It just, depending on how big the hive is, that's how many worker bees are pretty much in there. And then you get 1 queen. Then the drones are also in there, but there's more workers than drones. So the queen bees are females, the worker bees are females also, and the drone bees are the males. The drone bees are the ones that mate with the queen so the queen can lay the eggs. The queen is the one that lays the eggs and then grows more bees from those eggs and builds up the hive. The worker bees are the ones that store the honey, go out and fetch the honey, and make sure the queen's all healthy. So bees are pollinators. They go out, the worker bees go out, and they find a flower. And they stick their propolis in it, that's a thing in their mouth, and they suck the nectar out of the flower. And that's almost like a sugary water. And that's exactly what you feed bees here. This is a 1-to-1 ratio of sugar water, and this is what I'm going to be feeding them. So all you do is just take a jar, fill it up half sugar, half water, and that's what you feed your bees. Usually when you feed your bees, when they just got in the hive and when summer just started, so they can build up the comb and then they can fill it with honey and stuff like that. So let's talk about their hives. So this is the hive, this is my bees, these are my bees, my bees are in this hive. And that box right there, that's just a deep box, that's what it's called. So a deep box is where all the bees store their honey and their pollen and stuff like that and grow eggs for winter. That's where they store their honey. We don't take any honey from that. That's all theirs because they need that to survive the winter. So the small box that goes on top, that's called a super box. So a super box is where they store their excess honey, and that's the honey that we take. And if you see this little white sheet here, I can take it out. Let's see, can I take this out successfully? Now this is a queen excluder. Oh, it's a little broken. Now this is a queen excluder. So this you put in between your super box, which the box where you take out the honey, and your deep box where they store their eggs and their honey. So this makes the queen not be able to go to the super box because the queen cannot fit through here. She is too big. I'll show you guys the queen in a second if I can find her. But the worker bees can go through here and put honey in the super box. But it stops the queen from going in these holes and going into the super box so she doesn't lay your eggs and your honey. Now you don't need this, but if you are thinking of eating the honey, which you probably will, you might want this because the queen might lay her eggs in your honey and you might be eating the queen's eggs. You don't need it, but I mean, I don't want to be eating the queen's eggs. So yeah, that's the queen explorer. So, when you do get your bees, you can either get a nuke or a package. So a package has about 10 pounds, let me see. Wait, I think it's about like 10 pounds of bees. So that's probably like 30 or 40,000 bees. And that's a package. And the package is just a new hive. It just started out and it's working its way to becoming a good, healthy hive. Now a nuke is a already existing hive, but it's also got like 10 pounds of bees. This is like 30 to 40,000, but it also has a queen and it already has honey and brood for the bees and eggs in there that they can go off of. So that's the difference. Nukes are a little bit more expensive, but I think they're a little bit better. My preference, they're a little bit better than packages, because if you're just starting out, you might want to get a nuke, but like if you're a professional or anything like that, or you know a lot, then you could probably get a package. So let's get to feeding the bees. So the tools that you'll need is a smoker. I'll show you guys how to work the smoker in just a second. You're also going to need a bee brush. You don't really need this right now, but it's good to like dusting off your bee suit and stuff like that. Oh, and you're also going to need a bee suit. Well, when you're a beginner, you need a bee suit. If you see somebody not wearing a bee suit, or just wearing a veil, or not even wearing anything, then they know how to control the bees. You need to know how to control the bees and make them calm, and you have to be at peace with the bees to make sure you don't have to wear a suit. So this brush is usually used when the super box, this box up here that goes on the brood box, that super box, that's the one they fill with honey, when all the frames are full of honey, and you need to wipe off the bees so you can cut the cap off. So you wipe all the bees, and then you can bring the frames inside, cut the cap off, and extract the honey. You're also going to need a pair of nice fine gloves. These are goatskin gloves, and they supposedly, I heard they sting you, but you don't feel it. Like the stinger may be going there, but they don't really sting you. They're calm if you just stay calm. So they can feel you, and you just got to feel them. So all three of these are hive tools. This is a 2-in-1 hive tool, and then these are just separate ones. This separate one, if you see this wedged edge, that's used for lifting up the boxes because they make a thing called propolis. So they use propolis in between their hives and their boxes, so they make sure their comb in their hive stays very firm. And after a while having your bees in there, it will be very hard to get those boxes off. So you use these so you can pry them off. Also, with this curved edge, that's how you get the frames out. So I'll show you how to get the frames out when I open the box to go feed them. So yeah, these are the hive tools, and that's it. So let's light my smoker. So with a smoker, you can either use smoker pellets, which I got online, or you can use some pine straw. So at first when you get the smoker, you're going to be kind of confused because it looks a little funny. So if you squeeze this is leather, and it sucks in air from the outside oxygen. And then when you squeeze it, if you can see here, there's a hole right there, and when you squeeze it, it blows the air into this other hole inside the smoker, and then it ignites the pellets or whatever you have on the bottom that smokes. When you open this, I already used this a couple times. Oh my gosh, it smells bad. So I already used this a couple times, but when you press this, you can see all of the dust in there moves around, and that's how you light your smoker, or that's how you keep your smoker in, and you blow the smoke on the bees and stuff. So when you open your smoker, you're gonna see this little thing inside. So it has a couple prongs in it. This is just so the air can flow underneath your fuel and stuff. So you take the prongs and you put them prong side down in your smoker, and then you take a couple smoker pellets. I usually use 2. You light one, then you light another one. So there you go, you light them, stick them in, then you give a few puffs just to light them. If you can see, already a little smoke's coming out. But I usually wait for a second until it starts really smoking, and then I go ahead and I use it. So let's go ahead and go feed the bees. So now that I got my smoker and my gloves on, don't forget your gloves like I just did. We're gonna take the brick off. If you guys are wondering what the bricks are for, I'm just putting the bricks on so the hive doesn't blow over or do anything like that. We're gonna grab our smoker, put it aside to us, lift the top very slowly, then we're gonna set it down on the side. Then we're gonna lift the second top And do the same thing very slowly. Now you gotta remember to be slow and very gentle with these bees. So first we're gonna give a couple puffs. So now the feeder that I have, this is a frame feeder. So if I can tilt the camera forward a little bit, if you can see down there, there's this little black rectangle. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a little black rectangle in there. And if you open this little caddy, that's where you insert the sugar water. And then when the sugar water rises up on these two ends, there's these floaters that float up with the sugar water, and they float on top. And then these pegs keep you from overfilling it. So what the bees do is they sit on those black floaters, and then they drink the sugar water with their propolis in their mouth. So what you do is you take your funnel, and you open your sugar water first. And you take your funnel, slide a little caddy over, stick your funnel in, and then slowly pour your sugar water. I'm getting it on my boot. And you don't want to pour the sugar water too hot, but it's steaming because it's cold. It's a little cold outside. You usually want to wait 50 or 60 until it's 50 or 60 degrees outside to open your hive, and it's roughly about like 50 or 55 outside. So you want to fill it all the way to the top. And you take the funnel out and quickly put the latch over so none of the bees fall in there and die. So that's how you feed your bees. So this one was about like $10. I got it from where I got my bees from. The guy, he asked me if I had one. I didn't have one quite yet. I was going to order one, but he said I could have his just for like $10 or so. Now don't do what I just did and totally forget your hive tool. You're never going to want to forget your hive tool because those are really important. And you're probably going to want to get a lot of those because you will lose them very quickly. So you want to give them a few more puffs. And as you see this like yellowy sticky stuff, that's the propolis I was talking about. That's what holds the top and the whole hive together. So the bees make that so that their hive stays together. So when I inserted my nuke, you can see this one, and then these three are a little older than these white ones. These white ones I already had. So those were the ones that came with the hive. And then these darker ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those darker ones came with my nuke. So what you do is you take out 5 of your frames, your original frames in this box, and change them with your nuke boxes that you just got if you are installing a nuke. And then you take one of your old frames, or one of your new frames, and you stick it in between them so they can grow it out and they can put eggs and stuff in it. So let me open the one I put in the other day. So when you use your hive tool, you want to take that curve end and you want to stick it here where that little gap is. Then you want to lift the frame up and then set it down. I usually do the left side because I'm right-handed. So I can lift this up, I can grab the frame, and I can come over here, and I can lift the other end up. You have to be very careful not to squish the bees too, because you will squish them if you won't be careful. And then slowly raise it up so you don't squish any more bees. And let's see, have they drawn this out yet? Oh no, look, they're starting to draw it out, you can see. Yeah, they're starting to draw that out. They're drawing it out a little bit up here, where my thumb is. Kind of hard to see, but it's right there, that yellow stuff. That black is the frame itself. Yeah, see, they're starting to draw it out. So let's place this one back very gently. You have to go very slowly. especially because you don't want to squish the queen. That would be very bad. So let's put that one back in there. And if you want to, you can take your first frame out. So you can take your first frame out. Because I know there's not going to be any bees on that, because they haven't filled out the middle ones yet. So you can take your first frame out. See, there's no bees on that. There's a little sugar one on it, though. So you can take that one out, and then you can set it on this little rack. This is a frame rack that I got with this kit, and it works really, 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 really well. So look, there's a honeybee, if you haven't seen one before. Alright. You always want to give a couple puffs, too. Just so the bees are nice and calm and you can work with them easily. So now what you can do is you can check the frames and then you can slide them towards you, just so you don't squish the bees. Oh wow, they already built a propolis that attached to this frame. Wow, that's crazy. So let's slowly pull that away. Very, very slowly. You gotta be very, very slow with these. And then this one is full of bees. I'll show you guys this one in a sec. And they might sting you a couple times through this suit, but you might barely feel it. I think they might have stung me a couple times in the suit, but you can't really tell. So now this one, I have to be very careful, because this is very heavy. And it's full of a lot of bees. So as you can see on this side, it is covered in bees. And this, if you see that little glistening stuff that's in there, that is the honey. And then that orangey yellow stuff that's like almost like capped over or anything like that, that's capped brood. So you can see over here a little, whoa, over here a little bit, the bees are starting to fill in that with honey and stuff like that. So slowly place that one down. Remember, you gotta be really slow. If you're calm, they can tell when you're calm. And when you're all jittery and stuff like that, they can tell. So this, I believe, is the frame. Oh wow, they already built it. This is the frame that I just installed. I told you guys that one was, but I don't believe it was because there's nothing on it. Because I checked the other day. I think this is one I just installed. Yeah, they're starting to draw it like comb. And then they'll fill it with honey. Well, they're already starting to fill it a little bit with honey, as you can see. Those little glistening spots right there. Let's see, let me lower it. Yeah, those little glistening spots right there. Now I know these frames are already filled up, so that frame has nothing on it, we just saw that. This frame is already filled up too. Wow, that's massive. So that frame is already filled up. Let's see. That one's full. That one's full. That one's full too. Let's see about this one. Is there anything on this one? Nope, there's nothing on that one. So let me push all these back very gently. Push them all together and be careful not to squish the bees. Push them all back. Oh, bees. Push all of them together. Very slowly. And remember, you have to stay calm because they can totally tell when you're not calm. There we go. Not put that too close because they put propolis on that. Squish that together. Then put the extra frame in here. Squeeze it in. There we go. Alright, so there we go. That's how you feed your bees. Let's calm them down a bit more. Hey, it's alright. Calm them down a bit more. And then let's close the top. Make sure we ain't squishing them. And there we go. Put the top back on. Put the brick back on. And there we go. There's your normal hive inspection. So you don't have to look for the queen all the time. You just have to make sure that there's eggs in there and she's laying. Alright, so I showed you guys this. Let's go back over there. So guys, I hope you learned something today, and I hope you had fun watching this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me by my email in the description. And I hope you all have a good night. See you later. Bye.